Hey, everybody. Welcome to a new season of the Spotlight series presented by Black Podcasters Association, powered by Afros and Audio. I apologize for the late stream. We had some technical difficulties with our new streaming platform and just couldn't get it right. So we had to set up a whole new stream and everything. But if you're here watching, thank you for being patient and waiting. And we're glad to be here. The Spotlight series is where we shine a spotlight on a Black podcast creative or professional from our online community. My name is Corey Gums, and I'm the founder as well as your host. But before we introduce our guest for today, let me make sure you like this episode. You subscribe to our channel, either if you're on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever social media platform you're watching this on, and don't forget to tap the notification bell so that you can know when we bring you new content. Lastly, in honor of Women's History Month, and thanks to the sponsorship of the Women of Color Podcasters community, for a limited time, you can get your first month of membership to the Black Podcasters Association.com for free. So make sure you join today and check out WOCpodcasters.co. That's WOCpodcasters.co to learn more about their wonderful community committed to helping women of color accomplish their podcasting goals. And now that we got all that out the way and we finally got the show going, today we would like to welcome our guest Tony Tone. He's been waiting a couple of weeks now to be on here. He's waiting for the new season. He's the host of the Cultivation Growth Talks from a Veteran podcast, and it's about education, motivation, and some entertainment from a veteran and his individual perspective. This podcast is relevant to not only military personnel but to also to civilians, as Tony talks about navigating military life from his experiences, helping others, and as well as helping others to learn how to be themselves and successful at anything they do. So without further ado, and no more technical difficulties, we got Tony Tone, man. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate you being here. I know you signed up back in December,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it seemed like forever for this time to come, and then it all goes kaput because of all these issues we had. But we here, we finally made it. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're patient, and thank
yeah.
you again for signing up. So typically this podcast is about our guests and which your journey into podcasting. So the first thing I like to ask everybody is who you are and how did you get into podcasting?
All right, cool, cool. First and foremost, I want to say salute to you guys in the Black Podcasters Association. Salute to all other podcasters out there. I know it's a good community out there. I really love y'all, man, and I need to get back in tune with y'all. All right, so going on to me getting into podcasting, man. I'll be honest, man. Like I don't know what the hell I'm doing with this, but I just I started because I had this podcast I was listening to like back in like 2017. And I was like, damn, you know what? Like this is dope. I want to do something like this. Me, I didn't know anything about podcasts. So I thought that was like brand new. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I didn't know it started like back in like 2004 or something like that. So from there, I was like, all right, well, I want to do that, but I don't really have much to talk about, because at that time, like I mean, I was just a regular Joe. I mean, I still am, but I got a little bit more to talk about. And so finally, I used to be talking to people like, yeah, I'm gonna start the show. I'm gonna start the show. And then one day in 2019, I actually had something to talk about. And then from there, like a month or a year later, like right after I came off of the deployment, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and do it, and I just did it. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm on like episode 20. 20 episodes later, and I just keep on doing. Like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing, no idea, but I know that I can make refinements and keep on going and keep engaging in this community, beautiful community that help you along the way.
All right, that's great. Well, congratulations on your 20th episode. You've
Yeah,
gotten over the hump that a lot of podcasters don't make it to. So
no,
if
they,
anything, for somebody who says he doesn't know what he's doing with it, you've gotten this far. So give yourself a pat on the back.
yeah,
Um, Glad to have you here. I'm glad you made it this far.
yeah,
So let's talk about your podcast. Well, let's talk about. You said you finally had something to talk about. What was
yeah,
that
yeah.
moment? What was that moment like? What was it like?
Yeah. So when I got to my first ship, when I got to my my ship back in 2018. I finally got into a role of leadership. And at that point, I was like, a little bit higher ranking in the Navy, like an E6. But now I got all these people that I'm supposed to lead, right?
Hmm.
And I realized that I was kind of trash. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really that good at all. And I had all these people, and now I got to be their leader. And so I was trying to, fake it. You know what I'm saying? And after faking it for a while, it just didn't work. You know what I'm saying? And I got put through the grinder, and I wanted to quit. I was like, yo, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm tired of all this stuff. And I tried to transfer from there, right? And it didn't work out for me. So I had a leader, one of my leaders, she said, you know what? You're not really that good, but I'm gonna get you right. And she got me right for real. Like after she got me right, like I became like one of the most top rated people in my unit, man. Like I'm talking about I won about like maybe 6 awards there. I became like a sailor of the year for the ship, sailor of the quarter for the ship, sailor of the year for the strike group, which is like a whole bunch of people, and then seller of the year finalist for the region, which is like the whole region of like Atlantic and whatnot. So I was doing pretty big, and with that, it's like you being ranked like within the top 15 out of 30,000. So I started really making things happen because of my leadership and stuff like that. And I finally said, "Damn, you know what? I got something to talk about. Everything that they taught me, I can pass it on to somebody." And along the way, I also help my people do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I started just saying, all right, I'm gonna start making those episodes.
Okay. Well, we got a couple shout outs from you. We have Bethany, who's from our, a couple members from our community. Bethany says,
Oh
thank you
yeah,
for your service.
yeah, yeah.
But
Salute. Yeah, I
And then we
appreciate
have
y'all.
another fellow Navy man that's in our community, Raphael from White Label American. He says hello, Chief. So
Yo,
we
what's
want to make
good?
sure to
What's
shout
up, man?
out.
How you doing? All right.
make,
Hey, salute
make
to
sure to shout
Bethany
them
too,
out.
man.
But
Salute, salute to Bethany. I love her show, man. I be listening when I can, man. I like her energy, man. That joint is crazy. You
yeah,
know, I like her latest episode. I be tuning in when I can. You know what I'm saying? I always
yeah,
do, man.
yeah. She's got a great show, and somehow the conversation always includes Bethany in it. So, hey, Bethany. Um, but yo, so I think that's cool. Like, you said you recognize you was trying to fake it because a lot of podcasters do that, right? We try to fake it until we make it. I
Yeah,
mean, I tell people all the time, I don't know what I'm doing half the time, and you just trying to figure out what works and stuff. And it's good that you had a mentor, and that's kind of like what we try to do with the community is offering
yeah,
a place where people can come and learn from. And I won't say mentorship per se, but it is like a form of mentorship where hey, we trying to get everybody right and make sure everybody's moving forward.
yeah,
So your rank is Navy Chief, right?
yeah. It's
Okay,
basically E7 Navy Chief. I
all
mean, it's
right.
just
I don't.
Chief Petio, so you know.
All right. So how does your experience in the Navy translate into what you're doing as a podcast? Because I know it's you call it Growth Talks from a Veteran. Do you want to explain that a little bit further?
Yeah, yeah. So, like, all right. So this is how it is for me. So I kind of just I think back to that seller or that person who's like just starting out in something, or like they don't feel like they've arrived. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember when I first joined, and I wasn't really good. You know, I didn't have no real skills. I didn't really know anything. I was like bottom of the barrel. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lonely place to be in, and I never really had nobody to talk to me to show me like where to go and stuff from that to give me that shortcut. And so everything I did it from the mud. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
now I see a lot of younger guys growing up in the military and whatnot, or just in general. You know, I mean, I'm into people outside the military too, and I see them with like no direction, and I'm like, you know what? I've been there and I've got through that easily. So let me talk to them and let me try to help them apply some of these tactics and whatnot, these strategies that I've used to help them get to a better place. And so that's why I make these podcasts, man. And then another thing, I know a lot of people, and so like I know a lot of people, got a lot of friends, got a lot of family, and I know I can't connect with all of them. I can't be with all of them. So I make these, and if they ever want, they could just say, "All right, let me tune in, check that out." and so on and so forth. So that's another reason why I make them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. So, well, how do you typically? What is it like a week, every week, or is it monthly? How do you typically release your podcast?
So I try to do it on like a weekly basis. Like the last couple weeks, I've been having like just difficulties after difficulties. I'm in a process of moving and whatnot from Chesapeake to Great Lakes. To Great Lakes, Illinois. So it's a lot of packing, a lot of doing stuff around the house, and I can't just do things how I really want to at the moment. So that's a little challenge. Then I'm having a little technical issues here and there. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I had to buy new equipment here and there. So, but usually it's like at least once a week. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
and before I was doing stuff like just releasing it and just editing audio and stuff like that. I would do it like twice a week because I just record, autopilot, and then just upload. But then I said, all right, you know what? It's a lot of background noise. Like my first couple episodes, I'm in a car driving, and you just hear all around. And you're like, what the hell is he saying? So, but I just jumped out the window with that. But now I take a little bit more time and try to make something a little better. Like I said, it's always refinement. So I'm always looking to get better with every one that I put out. You know what I mean?
So I like that because as you know, in the Facebook group, we talked a lot about that, and I like how you decided to figure out a standard for yourself and how you wanted your content and how you wanted your podcast to operate, and you
Yeah,
also recognize that outside of just your personal life and stuff, this the work that it takes just to do your podcast, where you went from two times a week, just winging
yeah,
it, autopiloting it, as you said, and then saying, okay, I got to do it once a week because now I have to edit and I have to do all these different things with my podcast and get the audio better. It starts to become more time
yeah,
consuming. So, I mean, I think that's great.
yeah,
I think people need to hear these kind of things because, you know, um, in my opinion, it also stops a lot of people from getting discovered or keeping listeners when they are discovered. So
yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
important. But I want to talk more about your content and what the purpose of your podcast is. So I know you talk about motivating people, also
Mhm.
just trying to bridge the gap between civilian and military life and just what your experiences are. So when somebody comes to your podcast and they look at an episode, um, what can they expect from you? What are they gonna get when they turn on cultivation?
Okay, so what they can expect like some practical advice, just free advice for everyday situations, everyday things that we talk about. Like I have something called the Big Picture series, where we talking about the big picture of life right now, and it's a series of different topics. Relating from like living your dreams to having an idea that you want to live, idea of the type of life that you want to live, to like envisioning how your next year is going to be, to like thinking about the type of people that you want to hang around. So it's all practical advice, but it's just from my perspective. Me, I'm not one of those people that's going to sit there and bring things up in like the most complex way possible. Because I'm a simple man. I'm real simple. You know what I'm saying? I'm a simple man, but I'm still successful. You don't need all that, like all those bells and whistles that everybody else be doing. And that's the way I mentor people in person and talk with people in person. That's why a lot of people can connect with me, because that easy, simple, laid back, down to earth approach, I provide that in my podcast in a way you can understand. So I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I get that, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But
Mhm.
when I am, I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's important you know who your audience is,
Yeah.
right? So that you can make the content that resonates with them versus just throwing anything out there and seeing what sticks to the wall. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you gotta see what sticks, right? In order to see what works and stuff. But
Yeah.
once you figure that out, then you just start making your content. Now, let's talk about this big picture because I was on your channel the other day and I noticed that you started doing that.
Mhm.
Um, what made you come up with that idea for your podcast?
All right, so I'm gonna keep it tall with you. So a lot of my topics and things like that, they come from some of my supporters, honestly. So I'm real big on feedback, right? Real big on feedback because it's a conversation between me and my audience, right? And
Mhm.
so one of my supporters said, "Hey, I would really like to know about this. I would like to know your thoughts about this." And so I said, "Oh, okay." And there were a series of topics that I really, really liked. So I put a little bit of my twists and spins on some of them. But then I said, "All right, you know what? I can talk on each of these. I can actually write something thoughtful on each of these, how I feel and how I can communicate it with that, with someone." And so that's how I created that. So with the help of my supporters.
Okay, so how is your audience engagement? Because you clearly they influence some of your content. How is the engagement? How is since you started your show? How has the audience been responding to your content?
Um, that's a great question. Sometimes, I get a little bit of feedback here and there. Also, I have a Facebook page where I get all types of random like feedback. I mean, it's probably like my favorite thing, going to my Facebook page because the audience that I engage with and the way they respond is something else, man. But the ones that listen, the ones that drop the responses, they usually are encouraged, they motivated by it, and they usually say like, "This is good for me. Keep it up," and I think you should do this. And so far, like I'm reaching out to a small audience, but the audience is growing. When I first started out, like I was doing it here and there, and I didn't really have like as much views and stuff like that, as much downloads and stuff like that. But now I'm starting to see it like come about. As I build the Facebook page, my website, which I'll be done with my website either tonight or tomorrow. Like that's gonna be out. It's different ways to engage. Everybody has something to say. You just gotta listen. You know what I mean?
Right. I think that's important. Everybody has something to say. You just gotta listen, and that's the beauty of podcasting, right? You can sit there and listen and see what people have to say.
Yeah.
But real quick before I continue, we got some comments. So Raphael, I guess this is a Navy joke. I see see the mustache now. You're a true chief. Yeah, he's like a resident comedian. So um he also said if you got a good chief, you're in a good place. Thanks for sharing the wisdom. And then we have
Yeah, yeah,
Bethany again. We as a nation don't care for our military like we should. She says your podcast is important, and I think that's
yeah.
important for you to hear as well as other people.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
and
I
um,
appreciate that.
and Raphael says no chief is for everyone. So yeah, Raphael's he's a Navy man like yourself. So I
Yeah, yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
you guys can connect. Maybe one day you guys can collaborate and talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
that experience for the people out
Yeah,
there.
Raphael. Okay.
Yeah.
What's his name? Raphael, you said?
Yeah, he's the host of the White Label American podcast. So
Okay.
we'll talk after this. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No
I want to
doubt,
talk
no
more
doubt.
about now. I know for you, and I want to offer you my condolences face to face. I know you suffered a loss in your
I
family,
appreciate that.
and I
Appreciate
know
that.
when I went to check your page, I saw you did a podcast episode about it,
Yeah,
and I wanted to
yeah.
find out like did did that episode, was it hard for you? What I mean, of course it was hard for you, but was that something that helped you get through by doing that episode? Help you get through the loss of your sister?
Um, it kind of did because it made me come to terms, man.
Hmm.
It's hard to admit um that stuff, man. It's hard to admit everything that happened, but it happened, and that's my reality. But me, this is what I do. This is my outlet, and this is my way to communicate, like on a mass way. Oh shit, man, this is a tough one, man.
Look, you gotta. I mean, look, this
Yeah,
not.
it did help, man. It,
It
it
caught
did
me by
help. It did
surprise
help.
because seeing, I knew it was something important to you, and it was a hard time for you. And then I went when I saw your channel, I was like, oh wow, he put out an episode. So, and I started listening to it. I didn't get a chance to finish it, so I got to put that out there. So
Yeah.
I figured like, if
So
you don't want
let
to
me
talk about it,
say,
we don't have to talk about it.
yeah,
So
no, no.
we can move on. But
Well, I will say this: it did help me. It did help me to bring it out there, and of course, address everybody that's been showing support, and then also address some things that happened, like with my sister passing and things like that, it's been tough, and emotions were running wild throughout like everybody, right? And there
Mhm,
was a lot of shenanigans and things going on like that, just because nobody really wants to see their family member die. And I think that it was important for me to bring that out and at least address like, hey, despite everything that happened, like nothing has changed people. Like we got one of our family members that left, but the love that we have for one another is still here, it's still
mhm.
strong, and let's move on. Now, me, I'm gonna make a joke every once in a while, and I know something like I got a couple calls like, "Oh yeah, I see you did this. Why don't you say this in your podcast? How about that?" You know, they was mad, but you know, like it's all good, man.
Okay, I mean, I when I saw it, I was like, "Okay, this is transparency. You're being
Yeah,
transparent with your
mhm,
audience about your feelings and then your experience that you went through," and I think that's always been the allure of people listening to podcasts. You find that
yeah,
that one podcast where you can connect with is, you see the host is authentic. Those are typically, regardless of whether they have big audiences or not, those are the big ones. Those are the ones that really keep the loyal listeners coming in and build a real
yeah,
strong fan base. And I think
yeah,
in this right now with the COVID and people just jumping into podcasts, they think, "Oh, I just need a million listeners," not realizing you could do a lot with 100 listeners or 1,000 listeners. So I think I really respected it. I knew it wasn't easy. You know,
yeah.
um,
It
you know,
wasn't,
we're,
man. It
we're
was tough.
Facebook friends, and I saw what you was going through. And I mean, there's not much you can do to help somebody. You gotta let them mourn how they gotta go through that process. But when I saw that and I was like, wow, that was real close. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, he's doing big things over
Yeah,
there. Because it's not easy to do that. So I
yeah.
really
That,
commend you on that. But I didn't want to. I wasn't trying to like blindside you or stir up any
no,
emotions.
no, no,
This is
no, 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 no,
personal
no.
stuff.
No, it's cool. I'm strong, man. Like, I think during that time I had to do a lot worse than talk about it. So,
Yeah,
it's stuff that I never, ever, ever, ever want to do again. So I can talk about this,
yeah,
but like experiencing what I did, just taking care of my sister, like in that state, and even after she passed, that's something I never want to experience again, man, because
yeah,
that was rough. I'll be honest, that was rough. And a lot of my family members, they were broken down on a lot of the things that was happening. But me, you got to be that anchor sometimes in the family. And even though it was killing me inside, a lot of times, man, I just had to just hold it down and just not break down, because if I did, then big bro would have broke down, and then little bro would have broke down, then little sisters would have broke down, all this stuff. And I just didn't want that, man, because it was already hard as it was, just seeing my sister who's full of life going from that to like just fighting to
right.
live, man.
I
So
understand. I commend you too because there's an ongoing joke as well on the internet right now, and part of it is it is a bad rap that we get as black men with podcasts right now. Especially with certain podcasts putting out certain information. So I think like you having those kind of conversations and getting in front of a camera and talking about your experiences shows the other side of podcasting for black men in this space and being able to express your feelings and what you're
yeah,
going through and help people understand, you know, help motivate people through those type of things through your own pain and your own
yeah,
experience. So, I think that's very important that we have to realize because I've been seeing some vicious memes about and some of it's warranted about, certain spaces that have certain types of podcasts that are
yeah,
disseminating certain information that we won't talk about here.
yeah,
But
yeah. You gotta put me on what you talking about, man.
but
Yeah,
I mean, we can talk about that in
yeah,
private,
yeah.
but
Oh, yeah, yeah. Offline, you gotta let me know what you
but
talking about, man. I like that.
there's a
Yeah,
lot.
pretty cool.
It's good to see, to have black men talking about positive, content and
Hmm.
also being transparent and expressing themselves. So I think that's,
Yeah,
and I want people who are watching this to feel inspired to do so the same because one reason why people say, well, Corey, you have a podcast. Well, this is technically a podcast for a lot of people, but
yeah.
why didn't you have a podcast or why didn't you start your own? And I was like you, like, I don't have anything that I have things to talk about,
Hmm.
but I don't have things to talk about that I could commit to on a weekly, or what I sometimes
Yeah.
I feel like some things I say are not that important for me to put there and put a whole hour podcast behind it, or even if it's 5 or 10 minutes. Um, I have to be passionate about what I'm doing in order for me to do it.
Yeah, but I will say I thought that like when I first found out about this spotlight joint, and I be checking in all the time because with the spotlight thing is brilliant because even though you say you might not have anything to talk about, when you interview people, they have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. And then from your interviews that you do, I've been
Mhm.
checking out just about every single one of those people that's being interviewed. And I checked out the C Plan Do podcast. Like, I love
Oh,
that
yeah.
one. Um, Also, the Conversations of a Child, I like that one too. The Intermix with Leah B, I like hers. The Conversations in Durex, so I check them all out. So this right here, even though you might not have a whole bunch of topics every once in a while, like the subjects are the topics. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that keep people engaged to me.
I appreciate it because, as you know, and many other podcasters know, doing this like this, I was almost on burnout. I didn't even realize, well, like when I started this in November, and we got up to like 27 episodes, and
Yeah.
I was doing this twice a week, and it was like
Damn.
when I saw, it was funny because I was like, okay, nobody's signing up to come
Mhm.
on here. I have a couple of weeks to myself now, and I had to really, because I was like, how do I find that space? How do I find that space to allow myself a break? Because
Yeah.
people would just sign, the more, like you said, you started seeing people signing up. And
Mhm.
then I saw you sign up, and you signed up like weeks in advance. I was like, there we go. So I was like, all right. And then I was like, how I was like, okay, I can't let this keep overwhelming me. And it was hard. It was, trying to run the group and my business and everything, and it was like interfering. I was like, I got to turn this into a season. I got to turn this into a short season, and I got to pick one day out of the week that I know I can definitely give my attention to. And that's why we
Mhm.
switched to Sundays, and I do, like, I switched this season to 13 episodes, which I think
Okay.
is good. So it gives me a lot of time to pace myself. It also gives me opportunity to really focus on the conversations as well, because if I do a conversation one day this week, I got to immediately prepare for the next one. So
Yeah. So I got a question. All right. So
okay, I'm being interviewed now. Again.
just quick question, right? So when you upload your content and you say you have seasons, what's the point of seasons? Like, what's the purpose of seasons to you? Because I thought about that, but I was like, seasons.
So, I mean, so to answer your question, I now there's different people out here who might have different opinions on the matter. But when I talk to clients and I talk to people about doing a podcast, I always recommend like batch recording and maybe doing it in seasons. No, Raphael, don't ask me the questions. Um, I look at it as opportunity for you to not only give yourself some space in between recording, because
Mhm.
it's very time consuming, and it takes a lot of work to get
Yeah.
that. It gives you rest. Thank you, Bethany. It gives you rest. But I also think depending on your podcast, it also gives you opportunity to take time to really think about your content a little bit more. If
Uh
you're
huh.
constantly thinking about what you're going to talk about, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That Bethany said it helps you restore your creative content. Yeah, so
Uh huh.
allows you the opportunity to really think about more of your content, gives you time to adjust. I mean, I know being a Navy chief, that when you're in those shifts where it's just constant, 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 you need a minute
Hmm.
to breathe, to really focus in and say, okay, how
Yeah,
do
that's
we
a
think about
fact.
this?
Can't lie.
So when you get that break, it allows you to re-energize and rejuvenate, and to adjust if you need to
Hmm.
adjust. So I think that was a really good question. I think people watching should really, really consider, like, figuring out what works for you. Some people do short seasons, 8, 5 episodes. That's why I
Hmm.
like podcasting. It allows you to really do how you wanna do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I get that. All right, I respect that. That's a good answer. That's a good
yeah.
answer. All right, let me check that off. All right, good
Yeah,
job,
so,
Corey.
and this is the kind of questions, we answer in the group, and I told you, like, we moved from Facebook to our private community. We'll talk about that too, but
Yeah, yeah.
these are kind of conversations that are important. And I personally, with the spotlight, I think it's important for us to hear it from Black creatives and
Hmm.
professionals in the podcasting space, because our voices tend to not be magnified like other
Hmm.
voices. So that's why it's
Yeah.
important to have guys like you on here to talk about your shows, and the fact that you shouted out so many shows and that you say you check them out just tells me that this is working. Whether it's,
Yeah.
one or two people, it's still working and it's helping people get discovered. So I really appreciate that. But like, how do you go about figuring out what your content is? Is this just something that you wake up, like, some, like a lot of us, we wake up and say, "Oh, I think that'll be a great idea," or is it something that you really sit down and contemplate? Like, what's your creative process?
Oh man. All right. So my creative process. Like right now, lucky for me, I have like a good idea bank right now. So
Mhm.
like I'm not really having a hard time thinking about what's the next thing I'm gonna put up. But I really just go off of stuff that everybody else is thinking about, man. You know, whether you civilian or you're in the military. A lot of people want to know how to get promoted on their job, right? A lot of people want to know how to plan stuff right. All right, a lot of people want to know basic stuff, you know. So I mean, you just think about, you just put yourself in the shoes of somebody else who is not where you have who is not where you are at the moment, or somebody else who was trying to get to somewhere where you've been before. Also, I don't know if that makes sense. I kind of
Sorry, bro. Um, all right. So, what was one of your biggest fears when you decided to do this? When you decided to, when you said, "Okay, I want to do a podcast," I finally figured out what I want to talk about. What was one of your biggest fears?
I
And
think
how did
one of
you
my
overcome it?
biggest fears.
Hold on.
I think
What was one of your biggest fears, and how did you overcome it? Let me finish the whole question. That's what I should be
okay,
asking.
okay. I think I think one of my biggest fears was just dropping it, and then people that know me, or like people that know or hear me be like, ah, look at this dummy, he's sitting there putting this shit, he don't even know what he's talking about. And like I guess I didn't want to look stupid in front of people, but then I was like, you know what, like that is like, even if somebody laugh or don't like my stuff or whatever, that's only gonna that's temporary, you know what I'm saying? Like the way somebody might feel or receive it, that's temporary. But like the effort that you put on, that's something that's everlasting, you know what I mean? So I said, all right, let me take that effort and let me go forward and do it, because I know if I keep on doing that, I'll get to a place where I want to be. And if somebody receive it or somebody don't like it or it's not good, it can always be better with time. You know, I don't really worry too much about like how people. I don't really worry about the negative feedback too much. Sometimes I actually embrace it, because that negative feedback, it kind of points you in the right direction. Sometimes a lot of people always shy away from that.
All right, I think that's great advice. You don't want to get caught in the trap of compliments, right? Everybody's complimenting you. Yet the yes man syndrome,
Hmm.
right? Everybody's telling yes, nobody's keeping it real with you.
Yeah, I
But
hate
we
that
do got to
shit.
be careful of the trolls and stuff out there, because there are trolls and there are people who just, no matter what you do, they're always going to have something negative to say. So, but I think that's great advice, and I hopefully somebody watches this and really gets over that hump, because I think that's the biggest. That first step is usually the hardest step for most people. I know it was for me as
Yeah,
well. It's like, what do
yeah,
I don't like how I sound. I don't like how I look on camera. I don't like this, and
yeah.
I always tell my
And,
story. This was never in my plans,
mhm.
right? I never thought, I didn't want to be live stream. I didn't want to be in the front of the camera. I wanted to be behind the scenes in the shadows like Batman.
Yeah,
So, and here I am. And once I got over that fear and that hump, it's been like, all right, when's the next show?
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, of
almost
course,
becomes a
man.
high and addictive a little bit. You're like, okay, I haven't done this in a
Yeah,
while. What's up? I need to get back
because
on the ball.
it's that productivity too, man. And then I could be doing something else. I could be knocking off. I could be knocking off liquor stores, robbing banks, doing all this crazy stuff, right? But I'm doing something positive, right? I ain't
Yeah.
trying to hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the way I see it is like, I mean, I could be doing any other thing else. I'm doing something good, good for me. You know what I'm saying? Good for my mental health. So, if somebody ain't really digging it, then that's them. But I'ma still do what I'ma do, and you're gonna
Mhm.
do what you're gonna do.
Right.
And if you don't really like it, then you just don't like it. That's and that's it.
All right. So how's your when you started this? How's your family responded to it? I know you have You have your son, you have sons, right? You have kids,
Yeah,
and
I
I know
have
you
two.
recently. Congrats on
Yeah,
that. Recently
yeah,
engaged.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
how's your
yeah, yeah.
family?
Appreciate it. AMRA, baby.
How's this? How's your podcast deal with your family? Like the navigating of family life as well as your business. Your job, and then here's your podcast in the middle of it.
Oh man. Let's see. All right, ask that question another way, man. Ask that question one
How's
more
your
time.
family received your podcast journey? How has your family received it?
Oh, okay. All right. So my family right now, my family is supportive of it, right? My siblings, like a lot of times my siblings, they give me a lot of honest feedback because you know your family gonna keep it real regardless, you know. They think that's trash or whatever, they gonna say something. So they've been really supportive of that. And when it comes to like my personal life, you know, me and my fiance and stuff like that, it's like, look, as long as this list of stuff get done, I don't care what you do. You can do whatever. You know, I'm like, all right, bet. You know, so you got to keep that balance going. And then with my kids, man, my kids, like as long as I'm being a dad, man, my kids look at me, thank God, as a hero. So every time I drop one, they go and actually check it out, tune in and whatnot. So which I'm happy about. So my family been really supportive, like along with balance. When it's becoming an imbalance, then my family is like, hey man, you got to get it together.
Yo,
So hopefully I answer.
you did. It's interesting because we rarely talk about that part, and I think I'm gonna start asking more guests on here about that. You said your kids check out your content,
Mhm.
and and how did now your content is more motivational, more. How do your kids? How do you feel about that? Because I know some people's podcasts, they have certain types of podcasts. They may not want their children listening to the content that they put out.
Yeah. So this is how I feel about that, right? My kids, like the stuff I'm saying, I'm not telling people to go murder people and
Right.
doing all this crazy stuff, right? I want you to be motivated, right? I want you to have some self-esteem. I want you to build your esteem. I want you to know that the tools that you have right now, you can always cultivate those and be a better person. I want my kids to know that just like all my sailors and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with them listening to that. And a lot of times, the way I'm talking on the podcast or the way I might speak with you, I speak with my kids. I tune it down a little bit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Like hold back some of the f bombs and some of that other stuff. But like for the most part, the message is still the same. You know, and like I said, I want my kids to grow up motivated. I want them to know that effort is important and all that stuff. So
Okay.
that's how I
Have they expressed to you about starting their own podcast or getting involved in it? Because I know I've talked to several people outside of these type of forums, and they talk about how their kids want to get into the creative space. They want to have a podcast because they see their parents doing it. Have your kids come to that
feel.
path yet, or have they come to you about that?
So man, my kids, they not really quite there yet.
Hmm.
Like one of my kids, my son Price, he's a really smart kid, by the way, man. That dude is like a math whiz. He's a everything whiz, straight A student, right? But he plays a lot of video games, so he told me he wants to get into like video
Yeah.
game streaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's something I gotta keep on monitoring because as long as he and his mom is real good on making sure that he got the good grades and stuff, so I got to keep on monitoring that for now. If it's something that's gonna keep them safe, it's something positive they're not getting
Yeah.
in trouble for, I'll support it. Oh, why not? Like sometimes you gotta let kids be kids. I'd rather him do that than
And some other stuff.
whatever else they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Some of the stuff we did when we were their age. you know. Yeah, my 15-year-old, he came to me and said that he wants that to be his career. So I was like, okay, we'll see. Do
Yeah,
do your
nah,
school
nah.
do your schoolwork first, because they they do have like schools now. They've added that as part of you can get a scholarship for that now. Like they have e games and stuff
Really?
like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah.
I know a lot of the older generation don't like hearing that, but that is an
Yeah.
opportunity for our younger generation now. Just another avenue, especially for Black boys that are really good at it, to be able to qualify and get college paid for and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
that's why I had to tell my son's mom, like, I know how you feel, but we might have to just ease up a little bit. But
Yeah.
that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother time. But I really appreciate having you on here.
Yeah, yeah,
What do you
no doubt,
see? What
man.
do you see over the? Because I know you have an episode where you talk about write down your goals, right? What are your goals for your podcast over the next year? Where do you see your podcast from, 6 months to a year from now?
Mm, that's a good one. My goal, yo, I have like such small goals, man. Like honestly, when I first started, I wanted to get to 25 episodes. It looked like I'm probably gonna do that by like next month, month after that. So, I mean, damn, I got it now. I don't know what the hell to do with it. So I think like within the next year, I want
Mhm.
to at least have about like 50 out. I want to um have more meaning when I release videos, and I want to be able to have testimonials to show that people are being helped. And another thing I want to do, I want to have like I want to start engaging people more towards getting jobs and stuff like that. I started writing resumes and stuff like that. I do that like in my spare time from time to time, and I like to see people like get that promotion they're looking for, that career they're seeking, and stuff like that. So I want to be able to engage with people like in different ways like that. Just
Yeah.
continue to better people.
Raphael says that's not a small goal, and it's not. You like I said to you earlier, you made it this far, and you kind of beat, you basically beat the statistics. So, getting to 50 episodes, Gary, getting to that 100th episode, getting to that 50th episode, that's not a small feat, and it requires a lot of work and energy and sacrifice to get there. So I don't want you to diminish that. That's a big goal to get to. And
Yeah.
I think it's important, like you said, you want your content to actually resonate and have an effect on people.
Hmm.
So I think the idea of getting testimonials for all you people out there watching, that's called engagement. Um,
Hmm.
I think that's a great idea, and I think some people should start using that in their
Yeah.
podcasts to help them show the world like this has meaning to people.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I guess is so what does it mean for you? I ask this about most people that come on the show. What does it mean for you to be a black podcaster? And when you joined the group on Facebook,
Mhm.
what did it mean for you to be a part of that community?
Yeah. All right. So, what it means for me to be a black podcaster, it means that like I'm brave enough to go out in this area that's not like commonly known, at least in my circle, right?
Mhm.
Like in my immediate circle, because I can't tell you like any podcast I know right now if I step outside my house right now. But with the Facebook community, once my boy Buck put me on that, everybody in there, everybody, brothers and sisters and whatnot in there, and they all are very resourceful. You know what I'm saying? They all cool, beautiful people, good kings and queens, and they just got information just for free. You know what I'm saying? And then they offer like exclusive services for a price. You should always support your business and whatnot. So I think what it means, man, is just starting out how I am now and then getting to the Facebook group. Like that's an area that gives you that support, those resources, all that stuff, man.
All right. I appreciate it, man. I know Buck was like, he told me about you and I was glad to see you join. So really appreciate it. We're always happy to have, especially new people in there who have questions and are really looking to learn. So I mean, that's very important. That was what took me a long time to really build to get it to that point. So appreciate you having you there. Hopefully we have you come over to our online community because we can sure use you there.
Oh
But
yeah, definitely.
let's get to the most important part of this conversation. How can people listen to your podcast? How can they find you? How can they reach out to you? If you do you speak to guests? Do you have guests on your show? Or is this mainly just you doing everything?
I don't have guests on my show right now. I'd probably be a terrible interviewer right now, but Maybe that's something to
It's a
do in
learned
the
skill,
future.
bro. It's a learned skill.
Yeah, of course, man, of course. So right now, I think I'll be open to do just lives until I actually get to my new base of operations in
Yeah.
Great Lakes, Illinois, and then I can go from there. You know what I'm saying, unfortunately, I'm in the process of moving, but you guys can also catch me. I'll leave my RSS feed somewhere here. You can also check me on YouTube and then on your favorite podcast directories at Cultivation Growth Talks from a Veteran. Right? Check me out. You'll see the anchor with the root. That's some artwork that one of my guys he just one day sent me a message. This kid this man Christian Malataire. He said, "Hey, I like what you're doing. Salute to you, Chief. Here's a new logo. You should use that. Do whatever you want with it." So look for that anchor and a root. Cultivation Growth Talks from a Veteran, podcast directories, YouTube. Look me up on Facebook at Growth Talks from a Veteran, the page, and then I'm also working on my website. It should be out either tomorrow or sometime tonight. I'll put that on my Facebook page where everybody can see that. It'll be growthtalksfromaveteran.com. All right, so stand by for that.
Growth Talks from a veteran.com. Just so everybody
Yeah,
heard that again. Growth Talks from a veteran.com. That's going to be the website.
yeah.
And I know you on Twitter a lot, man. So, let's shout out the Twitter, your Twitter at
Oh yeah, yeah,
tone
yeah.
underscore IM.
At tone underscore I am, man.
Yeah.
Add me on Twitter. Stop playing, man. Stop. Add me on Twitter. What's wrong with y'all, man?
All right, man. So, and again, it's once a week that they can typically once a week they can check out your
Yeah,
show. Um,
yeah. So once a week I try to upload something. So I'm writing my next episode right now on well, I don't think it's gonna be a World War III. So sometimes I deviate and do a little
mhm.
something like this. So I know a lot of people talking about we gonna be in World War or we already in World War III and stuff like that. And I just got my different views on that altogether. So I just want to put it out there and see how people take it. We could politic, we could discuss whatever on it, and that. So stand by. I mean, I got like two in a clip right now, man.
Let me ask you real quick. And then we're gonna wrap up. How does your podcast? Is there because I know you're active, right, in the military.
Yeah, I
Does
am.
your podcast affect that, or is there any conflicts that you have, or with that, or
Um, so I mean, right now it's not too. What do you mean? Like as far
oh, I
as like
know
when you say conflict?
because I know for a lot of people, you're putting yourself out there, and you're gonna have viewpoints, and you're gonna have things you want to say, get off your chest, conversations you want to have, or if
Yeah,
you decide down the road you want to have a guest and they come on and say something. There are people out there
hmm,
that are polarizing. They have certain views.
yeah,
They're very feel passionate about certain subject matters that could affect you in your position in the military.
yeah,
Um, right. The Raphael says can't give classified info. I would hope not.
yeah,
It's classified.
yeah.
If you out here spitting out classified information on your podcast,
Look,
we
look,
might there might be
I
some more
look.
serious shit going on behind
I
there.
don't. They don't tell me nothing. They don't tell me nothing. Like leave me alone.
But you're the
I'm a
first person I
civilian.
interview. You're the first person I interview that's actively in the military, and I just find it
Oh yeah,
interesting. When people watch this, I want them to understand. Sometimes you got to be careful,
yeah, yeah,
what you say and do. But the military is a little bit different than me working at McDonald's or working at an
yeah.
office in the office or something where I
So
just do a podcast.
yeah, yeah. So I will say this. Yeah, I am in the military, but I'm also an individual at the same time. And like it's about being careful with your words. I try not to talk down on the military, the Navy, and stuff like that. I mean, there's views that I mean I agree with, and there's views I don't agree with sometimes. I'll be honest, right? But at the same time, I'm not. I try not to put a lot of negative light in there because that's still my organization, right? And
Mhm.
I still boots on the ground or like on the ships or whatever you want to call it. So it's in my best interest to not make it look crazy when I put stuff out there. But I know what you're saying. So like
Yeah,
you just gotta skate that line
you
right
gotta find a
now. So
balance. Yeah,
Yeah, so far what I've been getting from military members is mostly just good stuff. And the ones that really don't rock with it or don't like it much, they haven't said anything yet, but I can imagine they probably ain't really digging it. You know what I'm saying? Because some people they really don't like to hear like good stuff. Or some people don't really do a good job elevating people like in the military. You know what I'm saying? They just on everybody asses all day. They don't really build people up.
All right.
I'm not like that. So
All right. That's all right. Last question, and then we're gonna wrap up. What is one piece of advice you would give to somebody looking to start a podcast?
just do it. Just do it. And also read. You got to read books, educate yourself about podcasting. You have to, right? You could look at a whole bunch of YouTube videos and they'll tell you everything that you need to know. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. But you got to pick a book. You got to pick up a book. I'm talking about one of these books, hundreds of pages. You know what I'm saying? And ask questions and try things and just start, man. Just start.
All
That's
right.
it.
Well, we have a book club now, so
Oh yeah.
we're big on
Yeah.
reading. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
reading some
yeah,
good books.
I be getting my reading in, man. I
You can't
love
really
reading,
see it
man.
behind me, but there's a stack of books right there I got to get
Oh
to.
yeah,
So
okay,
we do got a
okay.
book club, but I love that you said to read because that's one thing you don't hear a lot of people talk about is the
Yeah,
is the
nah,
is the self development part and making sure you read and understand what you're doing.
got
And
to, man.
unfortunately, it's not a lot of books out there from our community, in the Black community in regards to podcasting, which we're going to be working on the change in the future. But
Well, Corey, damn it, we're gonna change that, man. We're gonna write us a book, man. As a matter of fact, I can see it in the future right now, man. You're gonna write a book or two in the next 2 years, man. I see it now.
well, y'all heard it here first. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see. Man, I really appreciate you being here. I apologize to everybody who tuned in at 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
Technical difficulties on both sides, on his side, my side, and
that
you know,
joint
we
trash.
we were talking about, we was talking about maybe doing this another time, but I'm glad we stuck
Yeah,
this out. And and this is just the nature of the business, right? We
yeah,
live streaming and things don't work, but I'm glad we stuck it out. I'm glad we
yeah.
we talked. I'm glad we finally got to meet face to face.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Even though we have a
yeah.
mutual friend.
Mhm.
And again, make sure you guys, before we get off here, make sure you check out Cultivation, Growth Talks from a Veteran. His website's going to be coming soon. That's growthtalksfromaveteran.com. You can check him here on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, he's also on Facebook. Make sure you reach out, check out the podcast.
Yeah,
Support
send
the
me some
brother.
likes. Don't forget to subscribe, man. For
Yeah,
real.
make sure you subscribe and check out what the content he's doing. Check out very transparent content out there. So support it. Give not only give positive criticism so that the brother can learn and make the content that you guys are looking for, but make sure you support and check it out. Really appreciate having you here, man. It's been fun
Oh
talking to
yeah.
you.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
look
been
forward to
great.
more future conversations.
Oh
We're gonna
yeah.
wrap up. Thank you everybody for watching. Again, this is the spotlight. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you for checking out the spotlight. I gotta get some water, man. It's been a long day. Been recording, then I had to come do this. But thank you guys for checking out the spotlight. Make sure you tune into our show every Sunday at
Yeah.
7 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube or whatever other social media platform that you're watching this on, whether it's Facebook, Twitch, or one of the other channels. Make sure you like and tap the notification bell, subscribe to stay notified. And if you haven't become a member of the Black Podcasters Association, stop playing and go to the blackpodcastersassociation.com.
What y'all doing, man?
Right? For real, you guys are missing out. We got a book club. We talk about books on here and learning and reading. We got a great book club. We've got some great books in there, but we got a whole lot of other stuff going on. We're going to have our women's panel coming up later on in about 2 weeks with Bethany and crew, with the ladies of BPA and Afros and Audio. That's going to be off the hook. I'm excited. We've been planning this for a long time. They've been putting it together. I can't wait to hear that one. So make sure you guys come to the blackpodcastersassociation.com. We're running a free membership. You get your first free month free for Women's History Month. So make sure you check it out. My name's Corey Gums, and I've been your host. And you guys have a good night, and thank you for checking in.
All right.
All
That's
right.
dope. That's dope.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. I
Yeah,
didn't.
man. That shit was